Hello everyone, let's begin for 31/8/2018, the Hindu analysis. The first news item, India committed to boosting BIMSTEC connectivity. So this with respect to, it's not PAN, you can just omit this. So India was committed to working with the BIMSTEC, that is a member states which is in critical sector, combating the menace of the terrorism and drug trafficking. So here it is Mr. Modi who is talking about it's giving a big opportunity for connectivity, that is trade connectivity, economic connectivity, transport connectivity, digital connectivity and the people-to-people connectivity, which was held on the 4th BIMSTEC summit here, which has happened in Nepal, that is in Kathmandu. And here they also focused on meeting on India's neighborhood, that is first and Act East policies. And here the BIMSTEC, you have to know about, it's a regional grouping which comprises India, Bangladesh, Myanmar, Sri Lanka, Thailand, Bhutan and Nepal. So they at the same time they were talking about the terrorisms and the transnational crimes where most of the regions have been suffering, such as the drug trafficking linked to the networks of terrorism. And here Mr. Holi, he said that BIMSTEC was not a substitute to SARC and the two organizations could complement each other, and he also underlined the need for implementing the BIMSTEC poverty plan as well as the Millennium Development Goals for the benefit of the member states. And he said that we need to focus more on the deeper economic integrations and also the collaboration among the members of the speedy development of the regions. So this is like basically the things to what had happened and committed for the BIMSTEC connectivities. Heavy water discharge from China threatens Arunachal Pradesh. This is with respect to the Xiang course, that's a river. So the heavy discharge is from water, that is from China, the highest in nearly 50 years, and this is threatening almost a submergence of 12 villages along the river Xiang in Arunachal Pradesh. So here they say that this unusual high, which is a man-made barriers or also we call it as natural dam, which is due to the landslides caused by the major earthquakes such as in Tibetan region of China in November 2017. So here this particular headquarters is near the Pasigat and also 560 km northeast of Guwahati. And you should know about the Tangspo was swelling with observed discharge of 9020 cubic due to heavy rainfall in Tibet. So now the situation is under a grim and the government has to really take up some effective anti-erosion measures besides talking to China for ensuring the safety of the downstream areas in India. So now we had one of the Central Water Commission expert, that is the Guwahati based expert, closely monitoring the level and also the qualities of the Xiang waters. And there is a lot of concerns when it comes to the international, national and local levels about the geological strategic impacting the Xiang that impacts the Bangladesh too, which might again impact the Bangladesh in the near future. So this is about it, and here you have the location of the Xiang course. The next one, Pan-India reservation rule applies to Delhi, Supreme Court. So here the reservation is state specific, which means that the Delhi is a miniature India where Pan-India reservation rule applies even for Delhi. So this was with respect to the 5-judge bench which has anonymously held that the person belonging to a scheduled caste in one state cannot be deemed to be as a scheduled caste person in relation to any other state to which he migrates for the purpose of employment or education. So here the Pan-India reservation rule for India was fully in accord with the constitutional structure of the federal polity. And there was certain object with respect to the constitutional scheme for upliftment of the SC/ST of these union territories would be defeated if the Pan-India reservation is allowed to union territories like Delhi. So this is with respect to the kind of an constitutional scheme which is an object, and the constitutional bench was answering the reference which was made to it by Bir Singh versus the Delhi Jal Board, which had happened in 2013 case where a legal question was brought to the Supreme Court on whether the scheduled caste persons from a state would be accorded the same concessions in the employment in the other state. As the bench was listening to the Bir Singh versus the Delhi, this was also another issue which was brought under the limelight where the Pan-India reservation rules applies to Delhi or not. So as per the Supreme Court, it tells that it applies. The next one, Law Commission calls for rethink on sedition clause. So this with respect to the dissent and criticism of the government are essential ingredients in a robust public debate in a vibrant democracy. This is what the Law Commission of India is saying, and here the Law Commission is the centre's topmost advisory body on laws. So this was being headed by the former Supreme Court Judge Mr. Justice B.S. Chauhan, and he had actually published a consultation paper recommending that it's a time to rethink or even repeal the provision of the sedition, that is section 124A from the IPC. So here they are also talking about giving this and inviting the public opinion on the prospect of either redefining or doing away with the section 124A, that's the largest democracy of the world, where it is considering the right to free speech and expression is an essential ingredient of democracy. And there was also a question to why we need to retain to what the Britishers has done it to oppress Indians. At the same time, they have abolished the law back in their country. So this was one of the important aspect to what the Law Commission has been talking about. And it also said that the sedition is attracting an imprisonment of 3 years to life. So here the expression of the frustration over the state affairs cannot be treated as sedition is what the commission has been trying to tell. And at the same time, it said that dissent is a safety valve of democracy. As what we saw the earlier news, the thing was dissent is a safety valve of democracy, and challenging the pan-India crackdown and arrest of the 5 activists. So here it's also took an example, singing from the same songbook doesn't mean that it is patriotism. The people should have their own affection where they can sing in their own way. So this is what is called as a democracy. And here there is a restrictions for the free speech and expression, but this has to be scrutinized to avoid the unwarranted restrictions to what has been posed to the citizen of India in return. So here we have certain queries what the commission had put forth to the argument, saying that the contempt of court invites a penal action should the contempt of government also attract the punishment. So the commission asked whether would it be worthwhile to rename the section 124A and find a suitable substitute for the term called sedition. So on the whole, the Law Commission is not happy to what has been called as a sedition, and it's also thinking should we have it or repeal it by the provision of 124A. So this is about it. The next one, the Russia-China is set to launch the joint military exercise. So right now the China and Russia have come up with a joint military exercise. It's a 5-day Vostok 2018 exercises, which is bigger than the Sapod 81. So this is with respect to the Soviet Union, what had happened in 1981. And here the exercise would be taking place where there is a friction with respect to Washington, where it's not happy having with Russia and China, and also amounting on the mounting sanctions, also the trade war. So this is like almost a Pentagon's national defense strategy, which has been unveiled and focused on Russia and China on a principal strategy challenges to the US. So whatever the joint military exercise is happening between Russia and China, which is going to happen, it's a revisionist power where that seek to create a world consistent with their authoritarian model, and this is what they're trying to justify with respect to it. And this might be a kind of friction which might get triggered more with Washington. And there were two important places which was under the same thing. One is the South China Sea and Taiwan Strait. Try to locate these things becomes very important. And next, MRPL to merge with HPCL. So this with the ONGC has owned the HPCL plans to merge its subsidiary, that's Mangalore Refinery Petroleums Limited, with itself. So right now they are coming across to come up with a merge where the HPCL owns 17% stake, and when ONGC is a majority of 71.63% of it. And here they are also discussing on the transfers of shares to how it has to be done, how to produce them, and also to bring about the economies of scale. So the company is also planning to invest around 75,000 crore for 5 years across into the business segments to fuel the growth as well as for the expansions. So these are the main ideology to why now there is a merging with respect to MRPL and HPCL. The next one, SEBI working actively to allow mutual funds in commodity market. So this was with respect to the participation of the institutional investors such as mutual funds and the portfolio management services in the commodity derivative segments. So this is looking out to give them the more opportunity, and they're also creating an operational framework for such investments. Mutual funds have to participate through the custodians, but they're trying to sort out how these custodians can play a role. So this is what has been trying to get it as an operational framework, and the custodians are having their own peculiar problems, and they were never handled in terms of mutual funds have never handled a physical commodity so far. So this might be really a challenging making the mutual funds to get invested when it comes to the commodity market. As part of its attempts to increase the institutional participation in the commodity derivatives, that is the segment, the Capital Watchdog has said that it would like to release a discussion on the paper allowing the mutual funds and the portfolio management services to trade in the commodities contracts. On whole, this is like the mutual fund. That is, the SEBI is allowing the mutual funds to get associated with the commodity market. The problem right now is that how can the commodity market get more intensified when it comes to mutual funds. Mutual funds have been right now taking place as in custodians. So if they are taking as a custodian, what kind of a role would be the best suited for the custodians? This is what is there, and now they are trying to get more operational framework on how to go ahead when it comes to the mutual funds getting accompanied with the commodity market. So apart from that, there are alternative investment funds have been allowed to participate in the commodity segment, and there has been attraction due to issues related to the custodian services. But meanwhile, there was a certain clearances which had been done. MCS, that's a multi-commodity exchange, has announced for the rollout, where the Multi-Commodity Exchange Clearing Corporation Limited, for such clearing corporation the commodity derivatives market in India. And here it will be the central counterparty for all the traders executed on MCX while providing a secure counterparty risk management and also the post trade services, and this is for mitigating the risk according to the statement which is issued by the exchange market, that's a SEBI. So this is with respect to according to the statement issued by the exchange. This is basically the SEBI allowing the mutual funds into the commodity market. And question for the day, you need to locate the South China Sea, first one. Secondly, you have to brief on the section 124A. So these were the important news items for 31/8/2018. Thank you.